number one reason why people don't buy businesses isn't because they can't find one, it's that they think they need all the money for the business themselves. In reality, I don't have the money is one of the weakest excuses in acquisitions. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk through the equity and debt pieces of a business acquisition and show you what tools people use in order to fund both these parts. So the first thing to understand are the two separate components. The equity, which is the chunk of money that gets put into a business acquisition, and then the debt, the amount that's borrowed from a bank, a finance company, or a private lender. And the amount of equity that you need is based on a few different things. If you're going to be taking out traditional debt, like a bank loan, it's normally the bank or the geography that you're based in that determines how much money they're willing to lend because they want to see some skin in the game from you, the borrower. If the banks were going to lend a first-time acquirer or someone they have no existing relationship with 100% of the total business price, they want you to have what's called skin in the game, where it actually hurts if you lose that money. If none of the money was ever yours, then there's nothing driving you to making sure that this is a success. You can effectively wipe your hands and you're no worse off from the deal falling over. So with the equity, I suggest that people budget for 30% of the price of the business, being the cash contribution that needs to go into the deal. Now for smaller deals, you can sometimes need close to 50%, and there are a few reasons for that. The easiest one to explain is that the part of the bank that deals of that size go to for a loan assessment is really just a box ticking exercise. People handling these deals are normally just ticking boxes, so there's no human oversight over whether or not it's a good lend. So the bank, in order to protect their interests, actually raises the equity contribution needed. But when you start buying larger businesses, the bank actually reduces the amount of contribution that you need to bring. It seems counterintuitive, but the size of the business can actually reduce the risk that it brings to the bank. So how do you cover the equity piece? There are really a few layers that you want to focus on. The first layer is the cash that you can actually bring to the table. And that's really the savings that you have that you can put into the deal. The second way that people can bring equity into the deal is leveraging real estate that they already have. People can often borrow part of the deposit off of the family home or other investment properties that they might own. Now it's a risk conversation for another day, but it goes without saying that you don't want to be leveraging your family home to the hilt. The third, which is something that I encourage people to focus on, is finding an investor to come in as part owner of the business. You don't just get this person's money, but you get their eyes and perspective. It's very tempting to go and find people who don't have experience in business or people who love you that can actually give you this money, but this is a big disservice. You want to find people who are a bit older than you who have already developed wealth through business. It'll help cover a lot of your blind spots, especially from someone who's been there and done that. The fourth is called a seller rollover. That's when the seller of the business takes a stake in the new company and reduces the amount of money that you need to put in for that new company to buy the business. Let's say that they roll over 10%, meaning that they take a 10% stake in the new business and don't give you cash for this. That means that only 90% of the business price is due on close. But you still need to pay for 100% of the business. 10% of it will be offset by the new 10% that the seller is getting in the new company. Theoretically, that should reduce the amount of money that you need to put in by 10%. So here's the point with this. The equity doesn't need to come from one place. It doesn't need to come from you yourself. And knowing that you have these tools available to you could be the difference between doing a deal or not. So let's say that you found a business that's worth $1 million. If you can come up with 100,000, you have an investor that's willing to put in another 100,000, and the seller's willing to roll over 10%, then all of a sudden you've dropped the amount of money that you need to put in the deal by $200,000. You end up going from looking at businesses for maybe $300,000 or $400,000 to then being in the market to buy something that's meaningful. Now, as far as debt goes, you want to understand what finance providers can give you when it comes to acquisition finance. And the best way to do this is through finding someone who specializes in business acquisition finance, normally a broker. They'll be able to look at deals, understand you, your background, and recommend the best loan products so that you can buy a business. One of the amazing things about business acquisition is that businesses are valued on a multiple of the earnings. Now, because the ROI on a business acquisition is technically higher than other investment products like real estate or stock, a business can typically always service a loan. Now that's not always the case, especially when you're buying smaller businesses. But when we're looking at deals from $800,000 upwards, if they're valued fairly, the income can almost always service the debt. So that's really a blessing in disguise. You don't have to focus as much on the servicing aspect, but more so on putting together the capital to get into the deal. So I break down the full funding stack in my free 21-day email course on how to buy a business. If you want it, then the link's in the description. It's free, subscribe, and I'll see you in there. So here's a quick recap for you. A business acquisition can be funded through equity and debt. For the equity, remember that you're stacking layers: cash, real estate, investors, and potentially seller rollover. If you combine them, then the amount of money that you need to put into the deal shrinks fast. So stop asking, do I have enough money to do this deal? And start asking how you can put it together. So I want to know from you, if you were looking for money or you were trying to find investors, tell me in the comments where it is that you would start looking. And I do not want to hear Ferrari or Lamborghini meetup groups or golf clubs. None of that. And if you want more content on frameworks that I've learned from the acquisitions that I've done, then make sure you hit subscribe. I put videos like this out on a regular basis so you can learn more and get into your first deal. I'll see you in the next video.